Right, so reindeer burger imbibed and visitor centre done. And yeah, it was quite a nice burger, but nothing hugely to write home about, to be fair. Anyway, fills a gap. Now, one of the amusing things, they've got that visitor centre there and all the bits and pieces you'd expect in a touristy area, but I read last night that the Arctic Circle actually, due to changing of orbits that the Earth does around the Sun and gravitational pull of the Moon over time, it actually moves something like 2 degrees every 44,000 years. So in fact, even though they've got all that there, that isn't where the actual Arctic Circle is. It's about 1 kilometre down here, it turns out. So it's probably not marked, but just so I can satisfy myself that I have been to the Arctic, I'm just riding up here for a kilometre or so, just so I've crossed that boundary. Right, well, I just noticed this little parking spot here right in the middle of this wildernessy bit, so I just feel I owe it to myself to have one more little play with the drone, just in case. Having come all this way and not being able to get it up, the drone that is an absolute nightmare. So I'll see if I can at least get some snaps with it, but anyway, we'll see. Okay, so I managed to get the drone up, but it was pretty unsatisfactory. Again, I couldn't get the controller to connect. I could only actually fly it using my phone, and it limits a huge degree. It takes away a lot of functionality. You can't do any of the sort of flying shots that you'd want to do, and also you can't send it as far away as you would normally do. So, complete waste of time, really. There may be a couple of shots there that I can show you. But generally very disappointed that I've not been able to use the drone to its full extent, because this landscape is just epic and it's absolutely made for some dronage. But there we go. I shall have to get her back to Blighty and do some more research and hopefully get her working again for the next trip. The annoyance factor is I bought that drone specifically because I knew I was coming here, and so it was kind of a bit pointless. Anyway, let's not get too depressed. It's not every day you get to ride your bike in the Arctic, is it? Look at this. Brilliant. Well, I have a bonus. I just came up to the Arctic Circle less than 2 kilometres, so I managed to stop the bike on the side of the road, stuck a couple of TMF stickers on it, and so the job was done. So that made up a bit for the lack of dronage. Anyway, there we go. I'm just about to leave the Arctic Circle now. The visitor centre, as I head south, is just down here, and then I'm back into the northern temperate zone. Headed back to Moirama, or Mo as the locals call it, and I hope to have a bit of a wander about there this evening and maybe show you a couple of sites there, if indeed there are any. Alright, stick around and stay tuned. So I've just stopped here at a place called Krokstrand, I think it is, just because there's a little bridge over here that looks like there might be a photograph or something to be had. Let me just spin you around and show you. There you go. What do you think? Maybe a photograph there, possibly. We'll see if I can get a good angle. Well, the water here is so super clear. Let me show you the river. Yeah, I think there's a photograph there. Not so sure now whether there's a snap there or not, but lovely little spot. There's a little cafe here just for a park the bike. Check this out. Gorgeous. Right, onwards and downwards. Oh man, it has turned out to be such a beautiful day today. I can't believe, look, 21 degrees and I'm in the Arctic, for goodness sake. Can't help but feel sorry for Richie Vida and the boys, as I mentioned earlier, on their trip. They didn't get any, well, they got a little bit of good weather towards the end, I think, but generally they got wet. Just been super lucky with this. These views are just awesome. Right, time for another little photo stop. Saw this one when I was coming up to the Arctic Circle earlier. It's just one of these bridges that reminds me of Canada. Check this out. Cooler. Right, I think that's definitely worthy of a snap. Right, another photo stop in the can. Just as well I am riding on my Todd today, because I'll be annoying the hell out of everybody else in the group with all my stops. But you can't not stop and take pictures in places like this, can you? I mean, it's probably the only time I'm ever going to be here in my life, so it's well worth getting it recorded, isn't it? It'd be fascinating to be transported here on a January day, wouldn't it? And see what the difference is. I assume this is all completely covered in snow most of winter. You'd have quite a different feel about the place. This big new road they're building is amazing. I just had no idea that coming to these inhospitable places on the planet was so civilised. This road is absolutely beautiful, look at it. You could ride on here all day. Very little traffic, smooth surface, lovely bends, unbelievable views. What's not to like? Right, another spot I couldn't resist. It's going to take me all day to get back to the hotel at this rate. Right, let me take you down here. Right, now this is why I've stopped here. Check this out behind me. Now, to be honest, this is the sort of bridge I normally hate, but well, you don't get these in Great Britain, so I'm going to have to just check it out. Oh my word. You won't see it on the GoPro, but this bridge moves a lot. There's no need for me to go any further, there isn't. What a wild thing. This apparently is the start of a load of treks. I saw some signage up there, you can do sort of 9-mile walks from here. How amazing would that be? Right, I really must get back to the hotel, because this is just getting silly now. Right, it's another photo stop in the bag. I think I'm going to have to insist to myself that that's the last one, because I'm just not going to get back to the hotel in time to do the things I need to do. Got a really early start tomorrow, so I need to make sure I'm well rested tonight and packed up and ready to go. We've got a 6:30 AM departure tomorrow, because we've got a massive 400-mile day, which includes something like 4 or 5 ferry crossings, which all have to be synchronised and caught at the right time, so it's going to be quite a day. Which is why today has been a lot more low-key in terms of mileage. Right, I'm going to crack on back to Mo Rana then. It's only about another 50 miles, well not even that, 30 odd miles. Speak to you a bit later. Alright, so I'm back at the hotel now in Mo Rana, and one of the things that I often get asked when I do these tours is what do I do about security on my bike? Well, basically I normally just take usual precautions. This is where we kept our bikes on this tour, and there's a specific reserved area for our bikes here. So really it's just a normal lock. I've got the tracker of course, and then take everything off the bike, and that's it, and then kind of hope for the best. I'm kind of hoping that here in Norway there's not so much of a crime issue, because you see bikes everywhere just left with stuff on. So for example, over here we go, there's a load of GSs here. These are nothing to do with us, and these are, you know, they've just left the helmets on them and all sorts. So you know, you sort of assume that there's not so much of a bike theft situation here as there is in the UK. But having said that, this little area for the bikes is well out the way. It's off the main road, it's, you know, hidden away, so unless you knew it was here, you wouldn't know it was here, if that makes sense. Right, so as I'm here in Mo Rana, I thought it was worth just having a little look, and I thought I'd just show you what's here. There's not a lot. The hotel's behind me, as you can see, which is the Scandic one, and you can get down to the water's edge here. Apparently there's some sort of famous statue and some fishermen's cottages, so that's what I'm going to see if I can go and find. Unbelievably gorgeous day still. It must be 24 degrees now. I'm in my shorts in the Arctic, for goodness sake. So this is centre of town. So these here that I'm walking by now, what are known as the fishermen's cottages. I mean, they look fairly new to me, but apparently they are fishermen's cottages. And just up here to the fjord, I'll move the camera. That's where the big statue is that was actually built apparently by an English sculptor, so let's go and check that out. So the town of Mo i Rana itself, I understand, was built on the steel industry basically. This is the heart of steel making in Norway, or certainly it was 100 years or so ago, when they shipped in something like 20,000 workers from around Europe to actually populate the new city, as it were, and make the steel. In fact, you can see the remaining steelworks, I think, over there, just over the, behind me there. You see that? That's the steelworks. And so yeah, and that's the city still makes steel, and that's what it thrives on. But there's still, I think, there's only a permanent population of something like 1,900, so it's certainly not a big place. And the fjord here has got this statue. Let me show you that. This is the sculpture I was talking about, and it's apparently done by an English sculptor. Something about it, isn't there? Right, that's Mo i Rana done. Well, good morning folks, it's 5:45 in the morning. Not a time of day that I'm that used to seeing, but it's been quite a night. It's such a beautiful day yesterday, no clouds in the sky. It means it was basically light all night, so I didn't sleep at all well. But it doesn't matter because we've got a dead early start today. 6:30 we've got to be on the road. Got a series of ferries to catch. We missed the first one, the whole day's messed up, so that's why I'm up so early. Anyway, bike is pretty much ready to go. Just going to grab a quick bit of breakfast with the rest of the crew, and then we're hitting the road for another, what should be, cracking down the bikes. Right, well, thank you, Mo i Rana. We're off. It's just slightly past 6:30, early start, and we've got about an hour's run to get our first ferry, which is the critical one of the day. If we miss this or we can't get on it, I understand it messes up the rest of the day, hence the early start. It's dawned an absolutely beautiful, bright, clear day, and here in the Arctic it's due to be 27 degrees today. Would you believe this heat wave we've been having in Western Europe is just absolutely amazing. Great for me. Don't know if you can see on the GoPro over there, look behind that crane, snow-capped mountains. Unbelievable. Impressive stuff. Right, so we're heading back down Norway to the south via the western coastal route along the Atlantic, and it's sort of characterised by, I believe, many more sort of fjords, causeways, bridges, and of course ferries. So stick around, stay tuned, let's see what today brings. So we're barely out of Mo i Rana. In fact, we're just on the side of the fjord on the western edge. It's already looking absolutely gorgeous. When the weather's like this, I mean, it's hard to think of a lovelier place to live, isn't it? It's absolutely splendid. Amazing reflections at this time of day. Just a perfect temperature at the moment for riding. It's 17 degrees at the moment. Stayed like this all day, it'd be wonderful, but something tells me by the time we get to our stop at a place called Namsos this evening, it's going to be another hot and sticky one. Nice! So I'm hopeful that as we're coming back a different route, we're not on that main arterial E6 that we came up on, that there's going to be a bit less traffic. But of course, I'm just a tourist, and every other tourist might be thinking the same thing, and they want to do the scenic route back as well, so we'll see. But so at this time of day, it's pretty much traffic free. Once again, amazing roads, incredible views, absolutely nothing not to like. Really looking forward to the day ahead. So I've been trying to sort of weigh up in my mind out of the places I've ridden, where's the best biking country in the world? And I can't really call it between Scotland, Norway and Spain. I think those are my three favourites at the moment. They're all great for one particular thing, you know, in their own right. Norway is, as I've mentioned many times, very similar to Scotland, just a lot bigger. But Scotland can hold its head up high, as I said before. It's all good stuff. I guess the answer is to do Norway in the middle of summer like we are, Scotland around the edges, and then Spain in winter. That way you've got the best weather. We are blessed in Europe though. I mean, I often moan by the fact that I live in the southeast of England and that the riding there is generally a bit rubbish. But because we're in Europe, geographically at least, It doesn't stop you getting on a ferry or riding under the Channel Tunnel. It's no distance at all. It doesn't cost a lot of money with a motorcycle. And then you've got the whole of Europe at your disposal, and you can go wherever you like. How lucky are we? I'm so gutted I can't get my drone to work properly. I did some more research last night. Looks like I'm going to have to send it back to DJI. It's a common problem that I've got that no one seems to have a solution for. I'm doubly gutted because I bought it mainly for this trip, and you know, the sort of scenery here now, this is just such perfect drone country. You're not troubling anybody if you put the thing up with a noise, and you could get such spectacular views around here. So it is properly epic. Just what drones were made for, and I'm probably not going to get the chance to do this again. Gutted, gutted, gutted. So because today has got the potential to be a bit complicated in terms of catching ferries, we're not complicated, but we've got to be on time and organised. We've kind of decided that we're all going to ride in a group today, so here we are in line astern formation in our usual grouping, with me playing tail end Charlie again, which is absolutely fine. Because I've got an abundance of lights on the bike, it means it's easy for Nigel up the front to catch sight of me if we start to get a bit distant. So I think I'm going to be doing a lot of looking at the back of Richard's head today. Well, what a road this is. Well, oh my word, won't you look at that. Look at that. That is one heck of a view again. I've reached amazing view saturation point already. I don't mean that as a bad thing, it's just beautiful, and every time you hove around another corner you get another stunning, stunning view. And it seems that's what Norway is just made of. Stunning views and beautiful biking roads. Well, what can I say? Stunningsville. You'll never walk alone. Obviously a bit of a Liverpool fan there, massive Liverpool logo on the side of that barn. We've got a heck of a long way to go, even for home matches. So one of the advantages of riding in a group, particularly when you're abroad, generally speaking I prefer riding on my own than in a group, but if you're abroad, one of the advantages is, particularly if you're playing tail end Charlie like me, is that of course everybody rides on the right of the road, and you're unlikely to forget that you're riding on the different side of the road. As a UK rider, riding on the right feels completely alien. I mean, you get used to it, of course, within, you know, pretty simply actually. On a motorcycle it's nowhere near as bad as driving on the right in a car, particularly if you bring your own car over and the steering wheel's on the wrong side. So at least you don't have that issue with the bike. The bike works fine left or right. But in the past I have been abroad over to France, and I've gone out of the hotel in the morning or whatever, and I've just forgotten, because you go on instinct, and I just ride on the left automatically without thinking about it. If you're thinking about something else, you've got to get petrol or what route to take. If there's no one else on the road, you can be on the wrong side, and that of course has dire consequences, particularly if you're going around, say, a left-hand bend and you're on the left in a road that drives on the right. It just doesn't bear thinking about. So you know, which is why I've got this sticker here, ride on the right. It might seem silly, but you know, that's going in my subconscious all the time, and I just don't think that can do any harm, having that little reminder there, just in case I was to go off on my own without the rest of the group. But today there is no danger of me forgetting about that. It sounds a bit daft that, you know, how could you possibly forget to ride on the right, but if you're in one of these countries that does ride on the right and you rarely get to ride on the left, if ever, you probably wouldn't appreciate how that gets ingrained in your bones, if that all makes sense. Another cracking little fjord there. Starting to climb up now, a bit more snow in the tops of the hills. So beautifully green here. I'm drinking this into my eyes because there's no greenery at home at the moment. It's so dry at the moment. Everything just looks like straw in the UK. This looks more like the UK should look. So just saw a sign for moose crossing for the next 10k. Don't want to be hitting a moose, that's not going to end well. So our first ferry crossing of the day is at a place called Nesna, N-E-S-N-A, and that's about 30 kilometres, and according to the little schedule that I've printed out and stuck on my bag here, first ferry from there goes at 8:10 this morning. It's currently about 7:10, so We've got an hour to get there, and as I say, it's about 30k from here, so we're going to be there in good time. Hopefully there'll be no issue getting this first one, which is the sort of critical one of the day, I understand. Some of the ferries can get very busy though, so hopefully this being the first and relatively early in the morning, it won't be too busy. But we're going to run the gauntlet a bit through the day, as maybe they get progressively busier, we'll see. And these are the sort of ferries you can't book, you just have to turn up and roll on. Let's hope they can always squeeze a few bikes on. Now this really is a view. It just gets better and better up here, I tell you. Look at the colour of that water. I don't know if the GoPro's picking it up, but it's just the most beautiful blue. And just no sign of life over there, look. No buildings, no boats, just nature at its beautiful best. And just check out this road, it's just the most wonderful ribbon of tarmac. Does motorcycling get any better than this? I challenge you to find me somewhere. What a place. Okay, just dropping down now, losing a bit of altitude as we come towards Nesna and our first ferry of the day. You can't see it, but I've got a big ear-to-ear grin inside my helmet. Just wow, really. We're into hairpins now, which is always good for a laugh. Should at least help round off the old tyres that have started to just show some signs of squaring off. Which I'm not surprised about, given the amount of miles we did on relatively straight roads. Right, just coming into the town of Nesna now. Colours here, the way they paint the houses, and against this beautiful blue sky, it's just so vibrant at the moment with this beautiful morning light. Anyway, what we've got to do now is find out where the Nesna ferry goes from and see how this all operates. Beautiful marina down there, and this looks like the ferry terminal here. Quite a serious setup. Don't know why I didn't think it would be. Richard's off somewhere. What a cracker! Okay, so bang on time, the 8:10 ferry has arrived. Very similar to the sort of setup it looks like the ones I did on the Western Isles. Very efficient. They don't hang about, they just you know, the last ferry departed and this one was straight in and we're straight on within just a couple of moments. You're going by ladder then. There's Bill, by the way. Bill, hello. Whoa! Right, so we salon. Give that a whirl. Or the door opener.
Saloon.
Sounds like it could be us. I don't know, you spoke Norwegian? Good.
Fluent.
We're in. Hey, it's quite posh. This is Richard, by the way. Richard Taylor, YouTube.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
We're in. Richard's the tour greengrocer. Every tour should have a greengrocer, and every tour should have a microbiologist as well, which is what Bill does. And this is Joanna, YouTube debut.
Oh, I see, that's what you
And
do.
every tour should have a doctor, as you rightly say. So, luckily, we haven't needed you yet.
Yeah.
There's always time.
You said that.
Ah, and this is our leader, the YouTube demo. What's the word I'm looking for? Premiere? No. Debut. That's it.
Yes.
You're on. You're on.
Oh, I see. Oh, right.
Yeah, exactly. So Nigel, military chap, very organised. Every tour should have an organised person at the head.
Yeah, well.
So he's your man.
Okay.
Ooh, nice. Nice, it's very pleasant, isn't it?
Probably get your GS in that. Might sit a bit lower in the water.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's one of the fanciest little ferries I've ever been on. Well, that was very easy. Doors up. Well, that was very civilised indeed. Thank you. Oh, what a civilised way to travel. Hi. And here we are at Liefjord. So we're off on the next stage. Another amazing scenic leg, I hope. And we've sort of loosely split into a very loose formation now. We've got until 10:30 to get to the next ferry, and it's 8:45 now, so we've got a little bit of time in hand on this one. But why rush when it's like this? And a splendid way to spend your Friday. So this was the truck that was on the ferry with us, so just need a little bit of straight road to get past this fella. Because other than him, there's pretty much no traffic around. There's chances for overtakes are few and far between on these sorts of roads. What do we got here? Opportunity. So that ferry cost 80 Norwegian krones, which is basically about £8. I suppose we were on it for about 30 minutes, if that, maybe 20 minutes. Didn't seem too bad a price for given it's Norway. It's certainly a very efficient service. There's no hanging about at either end. Straight on and straight off. Oh, it's feeling lovely and warm now. Let's just check what the temperature's doing. 24 degrees now. More overtaking opportunity. It's turning off. And there's Richard, our greengrocer up ahead. And when I describe him as a greengrocer, that's doing him a huge disservice probably. He actually owns a greengrocing company. Has a bunch of people work for him, and he does all sorts of clever things in terms of supplying top quality suppliers. So he provides fruit and veg for the British Grand Prix. He was trained at the Savoy, so when I say greengrocer, he's a bit of a special greengrocer. Really nice fella though, and been a lot of fun to be around these last few days. Well, these views just keep on delivering. Whoa, dear, look at that. Incredible. Narrowly missed by Richard. That was impressive. At least it wasn't a moose. This is another incredible stretch of road. It's obviously very new. You've just got these little marks on it, and it gives you a hell of an impression of speed as they zip by the side of the bike. It's great. I'll tell you what, this western coastal road back is just a real treat. If it stays like it has been today, for the rest of today and tomorrow, as we track back down to the south and towards Bergen, we are in for a real treat. So just around this corner, I think, is a really cracking looking bridge, which I think I've seen on photographs before, maybe. Look at that. I think this is a photograph opportunity. Looks like Bill had the same idea. Check that out. Right, another cracking little photo stop. What an absolute winner. Right, Nigel, our illustrious leader, has gone on ahead, and he's waiting with his camera with his bike, so let's see if he gets some shots of us going past, I think. Wow, check this out. It's actually quite a beautiful bridge, and I think it's what makes it special is the fact it's got this bend at the end of it. I've not seen a bridge like that before.